Barry Lovelace sat in his cramped apartment surrounded by towers of his own unsold romance novels, the glossy covers all featuring shirtless men far more muscular than he'd ever been. He swirled a half-empty bottle of cheap Merlot, muttering a line he once wrote. Her heart quivered like a rose caught in the storm. He tried saying it aloud to his reflection in the cracked bathroom mirror, then winked at himself. The mirror cracked a little more in protest. Once upon a time, Barry had been on bestseller lists, a king of cheap thrills with titles like Ravished by the Rancher and Love's Last Lasso. Now he was 50 pounds heavier, divorced, and relegated to signing events where nobody showed up except one drunk woman who asked if he still did the cowboy outfit thing. His ex-wife said he peaked in 2004, and she wasn't wrong. Barry was 3 sips away from passing out when the light in his room flickered. At first, he blamed the landlord. Then the air itself folded in on him like a bad bedsheet. His last thought before everything went dark was, if this is another IRS audit, I'm not sober enough for it. He woke up strapped to a padded bench. Above him hovered what looked like a squid in a business suit. Long tentacles, slick and iridescent, twitched as if typing on invisible keyboards. A smaller alien hovered beside it, eyes blinking vertically, holding what looked suspiciously like one of Barry's dog-eared paperbacks. Specimen Barry Lovelace, the squid said through a translator that gave it the voice of a bored British butler. Your writings have reached the Council of Zypher. We require instruction. Barry blinked. Instruction in what? Autographs? Because those cost $20 a pop. 30 if you want me to write something spicy. The smaller alien shook the book. The Duke's Forbidden Stallion. Its eyes glowed. You are the foremost authority on the human phenomenon known as love. Barry squinted, trying not to laugh. Wait. You read my stuff and thought it was science? Buddy, those are novels. Smut. Fabricated. Half the time I was drunk when I wrote them. The squid's tentacles curled in what Barry assumed was disapproval. False modesty is unnecessary. We understand you humans frequently disguise sacred truths in metaphor. Your saddle scenes are clearly advanced mating rituals. Your heaving bosoms, biological marvels. Teach us love. Barry coughed into his hand. You mean sex? The translator garbled, then repeated with emphasis, teach us love. For a man who hadn't had a date in 3 years and whose Tinder profile still used a photo from 2009, the request felt like cosmic irony. He ran a hand through greasy hair, smirked, and said, well, gentlemen, or ladies, or whatever you are, you came to the right place. The aliens leaned forward eagerly. Barry realized, with a sudden jolt of pride, that they actually bought it. They thought he was some kind of professor of passion, a scholar of seduction. Him, Barry Lovelace, the guy whose last intimate moment had been an accidental brush with a grocery store cashier's hand. The squid tapped another tentacle against a glowing panel. We have studied your Earth transmissions, wars, mathematics, chemical analysis. None explain this love. It destabilizes empires, dictates reproductive strategies, and appears to override survival instinct. Explain. Barry puffed up his chest. For the first time in a decade, he felt relevant. Okay. Lesson 1. Love is messy. It's wanting someone so bad you'd write bad poetry about their hair. It's staying up all night just to hear them breathe. It's ruining your credit score for a weekend in Cancun. The aliens scribbled on holographic pads, tentacles moving like frenzied reporters. Barry leaned back, warming up. And love's cousin, lust, well, that's where it gets fun. That's when you light candles, put on soft music, pour a drink or 3, and, well, you've read my books, you know what happens next. The small alien whispered to the squid, translator buzzing. Candles are combustion devices. Is fire required for copulation? Barry grinned. Sometimes. If you're doing it right. The aliens scribbled faster. Encouraged, Barry launched into what could only be described as a TED Talk for degenerates. He described the art of a pickup line, complete with finger guns. He explained why humans kiss, exaggerating the act until he sounded like a vacuum cleaner demonstration. He compared foreplay to tuning a radio, something half the galaxy probably hadn't even seen. Every sentence was noted like divine revelation. The squid nodded gravely. Moisture exchange ritual. Pre-contact synchronization. Understood. Barry chuckled. You make it sound so damn clinical. Trust me, folks, there's nothing clinical about a good rump. Love is sweaty. Love is dumb. Love is when you let someone eat the last slice of pizza even though you hate them a little for it. The aliens shivered, their skin flashing neon green. Barry assumed that was excitement. The smaller alien raised a tentacle. You are prepared to demonstrate. Barry blinked. Demonstrate? I usually need dinner first. The squid slapped the side of its translator. Our leaders require your expertise. You will teach them directly. Barry's drunken smirk returned. This was it, the comeback he didn't know he needed. He wasn't a washed-up hack anymore. He was about to become the galaxy's most important romance guru. And maybe, just maybe, he'd finally get laid again, even if it was with a squid. Fine, he said, puffing out his chest. Take me to your leaders. I'll give them love. The translator repeated the line with holy reverence, he will give us love. And with that, Barry Lovelace, failed author, vanished into the stars, ready to corrupt an entire galaxy with nothing more than bad metaphors, worse innuendo, and the confidence of a man who hadn't been told no in years. Barry was escorted down a corridor made of pulsating walls that looked disturbingly biological. He tried not to stare too long at the way the surfaces throbbed, but it was impossible not to think of something straight out of one of his paperback covers. The squid alien, who had introduced himself, in flat translator tones, as Archivist Splan, slid ahead, while the smaller one kept peering at Barry like a student terrified of missing notes in class. They brought him into a chamber filled with shimmering orbs that pulsed whenever someone spoke. Dozens of aliens waited, each a different shape, some gelatinous, some insectoid, some with too many eyes, and all staring at him like he was about to reveal the secrets of the universe. At the center was a raised dais, where a massive alien with translucent skin loomed, organs visible inside like a living lava lamp. Splan introduced it solemnly as High Chancellor Vrul. The Chancellor's translator crackled. We welcome the human sage of love. Enlighten us. Barry coughed, suddenly aware he was standing in pajama pants and a t-shirt that read Certified Loverboy in faded glitter letters. Right. So. Lesson number 1, Seduction. He clasped his hands behind his back and paced like he was on stage at a cheap convention. Seduction is about atmosphere. You need lighting, dim, warm, flattering. Candles. A little music. Something with a slow beat. Humans get in the mood when the world feels like it's conspiring to make them naked. The aliens all leaned forward. One blob-like creature rippled. Candles. Fire. Is immolation the prerequisite? Barry winked. Not exactly, though sometimes the night gets hot. Translator buzz. Hot. Combustion. Verified. He continued. Second, the words. You can't just dive in with your, appendages. You need to warm them up. Humans respond to charm. Flattery. Pick-up lines. He leaned forward conspiratorially. Like this one, are you from outer space? Because your beauty is out of this world. Half the chamber erupted into bright flashes, their equivalent of applause. Another species hissed and clicked. Outer space? We are all from outer space. Barry grinned. Exactly. It's not about logic. It's about confidence. You sell the fantasy. He grabbed a glass of water from a nearby pedestal and sipped dramatically. Now, kissing. That's when you press your lips to someone else's. Humans like it. It's messy, it's wet, it's kind of gross if you think about it, but it drives us wild. A spindly insectoid raised a limb. Purpose? Nutritional exchange. Nope. Purely emotional. We like to pretend it means we're merging souls or something. The insectoid scribbled furiously, muttering, soul fusion via oral orifice collision. Barry's chest puffed up. He was killing it. These aliens thought he was Socrates with a hard-on. He strutted, voice growing louder. Foreplay is key. You don't just leap into the act. You take your time. Teasing. Touching. Building anticipation. Think of it like warming up your Starship engine before hitting hyperdrive. You don't want to blow the damn thing before you leave the hangar. The chamber rippled with collective awe. Vrool's organs pulsed brighter, translator humming reverently. Truly, profound. Barry couldn't stop himself now. He mimed pulling off a shirt. And striptease. Clothes are more than fabric. They're armor. Taking them off slow is like declaring war and surrendering at the same time. Humans love that vulnerability. A gelatinous alien bubbled loudly. Humans remove their exoskeletons before mating. Barry froze, then shrugged. In a sense. Yeah. And sometimes we dance. He shimmied badly, his belly jiggling beneath the Lovabar shirt. The aliens gasped as if he'd just unlocked nuclear fission. Splan whispered, "Is gyration mandatory?" Barry winked. "Always helps. Especially if you've got rhythm. Or hips." He leaned closer to the dais, voice dropping. "And then there's the climax. The big finish. It's why we put up with heartbreak, bad dates, and awkward moments. It's why humans risk rejection again and again. Because when it works, when two people connect, fireworks." Vrool throbbed in color patterns Barry couldn't interpret. Fireworks. Ritual explosions at conclusion. Essential. Barry clapped his hands once. Exactly. Explosions. Everyone's happy. The aliens scribbled with manic energy. Barry had never felt more powerful in his life. The Chancellor's translator clicked again. "Your teachings, they must be tested. The Council requests live demonstration." Barry blinked. "Wait, you mean?" Before he could finish, two attendants emerged. One was a jelly-skinned alien dripping slime. The other resembled a walking bouquet of teeth. Both regarded him with what he guessed was eagerness. Barry swallowed hard. Usually I start with dinner and a drink." Splan held up a tentacle. "We have prepared beverages." A tray appeared, stacked with cups of glowing blue liquid. Barry picked one up, sniffed, and gagged. It smelled like burning rubber and cinnamon. Still, he downed it in one gulp. It burned worse than whiskey but lit his chest like rocket fuel. He smacked his lips. "That'll do." The slime alien oozed closer. Barry stammered, "Right, okay, kissing demonstration." He leaned in and planted an exaggerated smooch on the gooey surface. His lips came away covered in slime. He gagged, wiped his face, and muttered, "Smooth operator, Barry. Real smooth." The chamber exploded in radiant colors. Splan cried out, "Moisture exchange ritual confirmed." Barry straightened, wiping his chin. "See? Passion. Intensity. That's love, baby." Vrool's organs pulsed furiously. "Your mastery is undeniable. You must bring this knowledge to our people, to our rulers, to our young. You will be the master of love." Barry laughed, half drunk, half terrified, but mostly drunk. He spread his arms wide. "Well then, line up, folks. Who's ready for a crash course in Human Studies 101? The translator echoed his words back with solemn weight, "He will give us love." And every alien in the chamber bowed, trembling with reverence, while Barry Lovelace stood there grinning, slime dripping off his chin, realizing he had just bullshitted his way into becoming the galaxy's horniest prophet. Barry wasn't sure how long he had been lecturing anymore. Days? Weeks? His sense of time was obliterated by the endless parade of aliens begging for clarification on the sacred rituals of Earth romance. He had explained the concept of Netflix and chill to a reptilian warlord who didn't understand what Netflix was, and now entire fleets of lizard ships floated in orbit streaming reruns of sitcoms as foreplay. What began as a drunken crash course had snowballed into a movement. His words, once pulp smut scribbled in a sweaty apartment, were being recited like scripture. Aliens were quoting him back to himself. Her love was like a storm, one gelatinous student moaned, before splitting itself in half to prove devotion. Another recited, heaving bosoms are engines of destiny, as if that line had been delivered by Einstein instead of a man who once misspelled throbbing in a manuscript. He had become a prophet of passion. The council showered him with gifts, a personal star yacht shaped like a heart, endless supplies of glowing liquor that tasted like gasoline and regret, and a harem of volunteers from every species. Barry didn't know if the volunteers were actually offering themselves to him or simply awaiting detailed instruction, but he decided not to question it too hard. The aliens absorbed his every word and tried to replicate it, often disastrously. A squid-like student attempted candlelit romance by igniting an entire wing of the council chambers. A species with 8 mouths misinterpreted the concept of whispering sweet nothings and flooded the room with a deafening roar of incoherent babble. A jelly creature mistook chocolate-covered strawberries for a mating gift and accidentally melted half the produce section of an orbital market trying to replicate them in slime form. Barry should have felt guilty, but instead he laughed until he cried. Watching a 10-foot insect try to serenade another insect by blasting Celine Dion from a plasma cannon was the highlight of his year. But the ripple effects didn't stop at awkward imitations. His teachings bled into alien politics. Wars were paused because rival empires wanted to test dating before killing each other. Skirmishes were replaced with group dinners where aliens exchanged awkward compliments instead of plasma fire. Armies demanded training in romantic warfare, insisting that if love could conquer humans, it could conquer anyone. Barry's old books were now Galactic bestsellers. Translated poorly, of course. One alien publisher retitled The Duke's Forbidden Stallion as equine-based penetration tactics. Another renamed Love's Last Lasso into strategic rope-binding protocols. He didn't care. The royalties were astronomical, and for the first time since his divorce he could afford to smile without feeling like a fraud. Even stranger, alien entertainment industries flourished overnight. Dating shows with tentacled bachelors. Poetry nights where insectoids clicked out couplets about unrequited lust. Entire asteroid colonies transformed into honeymoon resorts. Barry's trashy lines became mantras. To get inside someone's heart, you must first get inside their mind. The aliens interpreted it literally and began experimenting with psychic fusions during courtship. Accidents happened. Minds got scrambled. One poor bastard spent a week thinking he was a toaster. But still they called it progress. The greatest misunderstanding came when Barry used the phrase making love. He meant sex. They didn't. Alien engineers took the phrase literally and began producing bottled love. It came out as a neon pink liquid, fizzy and addictive, distilled from pheromones, chocolate, and something Barry chose not to ask about. Soon it was being traded on black markets as the hottest commodity in the galaxy. Drink it, and you felt euphoric, needy, warm. Governments tried to regulate it, but entire planets were now hooked on love. Barry realized with a shudder that he had unintentionally created the galaxy's first interstellar narcotic. And they credited him for it. At night, alone in his quarters, Barry stared into a cup of that glowing drink and muttered, "Jesus, Lovelace, what the hell did you do? You've weaponized horny." Then he drank it anyway, because he was curious, and woke up 12 hours later covered in feathers with no memory of how they got there. He was invited to speak at gatherings larger than anything Earth had ever hosted. Coliseums filled with alien bodies, chanting his name. They introduced him with titles he never asked for: the Apostle of Arousal, the Prophet of Passion, the Human Flame. He strutted onto stages drunk on attention and blue booze, delivering rambling sermons about pickup lines, romantic screw-ups, and his ex-wife's constant nagging. They took notes as though he was dictating cosmic law. Barry admitted things he never meant to. He confessed that love made people insane, that lust made people stupid, that most humans didn't even know what they wanted but kept chasing it anyway. Aliens wailed and nodded, as if these flaws were sacred truths. One wept openly, tentacles flailing. "Your weakness is your strength. Your contradictions, divine. Soon, interstellar culture bent to human absurdities. Restaurants advertised romantic dim lighting as if it were the cure for all ills. Alien poets competed to write the dirtiest limericks. An entire empire outlawed pants after Barry mentioned strip poker in passing. A race of crystalline beings began selling diamond engagement rings, citing his claim that nothing says commitment like spending 3 months' salary on a rock. It was chaos, glorious chaos, and Barry reveled in it. Humanity had always felt small compared to the stars, primitive and fragile. But now? Humans were the architects of galactic love, the inventors of desire, the high priests of seduction. Aliens admitted it openly: no machine, no technology, no empire could compete with the irrational force humans wielded. For the first time, Barry believed it himself. Humans weren't weak. They were dangerous in ways no one else could be. Lust, heartbreak, obsession, those were weapons sharper than any plasma cannon. And he, Barry Lovelace, was the trigger man. Of course, he didn't phrase it so poetically when drunk on glowing liquor at a council party. Instead he slurred, humans are horny little cockroaches. Can't kill us. Can't stop us. We just keep loving and screwing up until you give up trying. The aliens applauded thunderously. Splan whispered reverently, "You honor us with such wisdom, master." Barry hiccuped, wiped slime off his shirt, and thought, this might be the best midlife crisis anyone's ever had. Barry had been drunk on power, liquor, and praise for so long that he barely noticed when things turned serious. At first it was flattering, invitations from rulers, scholars, priests. Then came the command summons. He was to present his unified theory of love to the Galactic Council, the governing body of thousands of species. No smut, no distractions. A speech. A final lesson. Barry Lovelace, romance hack turned cosmic prophet, was expected to codify love into something science could replicate. For 3 days he locked himself in his quarters, staring at blank pages. His novels had always been fueled by tequila and desperation. He'd never written anything profound in his life. He was a fraud, a man who made up euphemisms for penis because publishers told him not to repeat the same word too often. Now the universe wanted him to explain the one force he understood least. He slammed back another glowing drink and muttered, "You're screwed, Barry. Absolutely screwed." When the day came, he stumbled onto the stage of a vast arena, lit by 100 suns. Beings of every shape filled the seats, their translator devices humming. A hush fell over them, waiting for revelation. He saw Splan watching with wide, expectant eyes. He saw banners with his face printed on them, badly, like a stretched-out mugshot. He cleared his throat. Hey, he began. "I'm Barry Lovelace. You know me. Oh, well, you know my books." His voice cracked, but the translator smoothed it into something stately. "You want me to explain love. Truth is, I can't. Not really." Gasps rippled. A crystalline elder rose in outrage. "Blasphemy." Barry raised both hands. "Hold on. Just hear me out. I can't explain it because love is messy. It's not equations or rituals. It's staying with someone even when they snore like a dying walrus. It's jealousy so dumb it makes you throw a shoe. It's heartbreak that makes you write bad poetry on napkins. It's swiping right on someone you know is wrong for you because hope is stronger than common sense." The aliens leaned in. Some flashed colors of confusion, others of awe. Barry pressed on, heat rising in his chest. "Yeah, lust's part of it. Lust's fun. Lust makes you sneak into bathrooms at weddings. But love? Love is sticking around when the fun's over. Love is when they see you at your worst, hungover, broke, whining, and they still don't leave." A tentacled diplomat raised a limb. "And when they do leave?" Barry laughed bitterly. "Then it hurts like hell. You eat ice cream straight from the tub and swear you'll never fall again. But you do. Over and over. Because humans are idiots like that. We don't give up." He spread his arms, voice rising. "That's the secret. That's why you all need us. Love isn't clean. It's not efficient. It's the biggest waste of time that makes life worth living. You want to know what makes humans special? We keep chasing it, even when it destroys us. That's our weapon. That's our curse. That's love. For a long moment, silence. Then the chamber erupted. Aliens wailed, pulsed, shrieked, shed fluids. Counselors clutched each other. Some fainted. Vrool, the Chancellor himself, collapsed in glowing tears. Splan bowed so low his tentacles scraped the floor. Truly, the translator boomed, humans are divine. Love is both agony and ecstasy. A paradox only your species can endure. You have saved us. Barry blinked. Saved you? I just ranted about bad dates. But it didn't matter. His words, sloppy and real, became gospel. Treaties were signed not with ink but with promises of shared heartbreak. Former enemies declared romantic alliances instead of truces. Wars ended in drunken hookups. A civilization that once measured worth in power now measured it in passion. The galaxy didn't just accept his nonsense, they built their future on it. Barry was showered with honors he couldn't pronounce. They erected a monument, him holding a rose, chest puffed, looking noble. Unfortunately, the sculptor misunderstood the design. From the wrong angle, the rose stem looked suspiciously like something else. Crowds still flocked to it, laying offerings, chanting hymns. Back in his quarters, Barry lay on a bed bigger than his apartment, surrounded by alien admirers asking for more lessons. He waved them off, groaning. Lessons over, kids. Class dismissed. One jellything whispered, "But master, what should we do when love fails?" Barry rolled onto his side, cracked open another glowing bottle, and muttered, "Do what humans do. Drink, cry, write bad poetry. Then try again." They scribbled like it was the meaning of life. Months later, when Barry returned to Earth for a visit, nobody believed him. His ex-wife told him he looked fatter, his old publisher laughed at his story, and the bartender at his favorite dive said, "Sure, Barry, you saved the galaxy with bad pickup lines. Pay your tab." But Barry just smiled, because he knew the truth. Somewhere out there, entire worlds were quoting him like scripture. Civilizations were seducing each other with lines he stole from cheap soap operas. Aliens were ending wars by Netflix and chilling. He wasn't a washed-up hack anymore. He was legend. He raised his glass, muttered to himself, "Here's to love," and chuckled. Because he knew damn well he'd given the aliens exactly what they asked for, and changed their world forever.